This ended with
You know what,
Mercedes.
bro? Wait, because I'm just gonna if I'm just gonna leave. I'm not going to sit here and allow you to insult the four-time Booker of the Year. You know, that's just not
Right.
that's why I draw the line, dude.
Right.
So this one with so no recap or nothing again. Just Hangman comes straight to the ring. The announcers are trying to fill in the blanks of what's going on. Hangman said he'd keep his vow to free the AEW Championship from the briefcase and hold it over his head. He then said Moxley would have to kill him before he let his chance pass by. He continued and said he would not let the Elite or Death Riders cost him, and you'd have to be to think otherwise. He said he would have Joe. By the way, look up why Roman has not been on TV when he's scheduled back. And he said he welcomed them, and Moxley would have to give him everything or give him death, and demanded Moxley make it a Texas death match.
You're not ready for a Texas death match.
John Moxley, music head, he had out with his girl Marina Shafir, and asked if Hangman really wanted to put all his chips on the table, including his health career and his life, and he then said no and told Hangman he didn't want that. Moxley said he's going to lose on July 12th at All In. That's because he doesn't want to win. Claimed Hangman feels safe where he is because he doesn't actually want to wake up on Sunday morning as AEW World Champion. Moxley said Hangman won the Owen Hart Trophy because it wasn't the very top of the mountain, because Hangman can't exist at the highest levels of pressure. He continued to tell Moxley that lots of people call themselves the best in the world, and that's basic. He said he's more than that, and he would prove it on July 12th. Moxley implied that Hangman couldn't survive the match, and Hangman slapped him. A very weak slap, by the way. Okay, you slap the guy when you slap somebody; he's not going to kill him.
Right.
Moxley tried to tackle Hangman, but it got reversed, and Hangman pummeled him from the mount. Then this was a silly spot. He clumsily was reaching in his jacket while he's mounted, his jacket pocket, and he pulled out a fork to stab him with. But instead of pulling out the fork and stabbing him, he pulled out the fork and held it up like, I'm going to stab you with this.
Right.
But then the Death Riders, I guess they were supposed to hit earlier, so he finally
then cousin It's brother, Utah came in with the hairdo. Yeah.
Oh, and he's no disrespect to Wheeler Yuta, dude, but you're balding on the top of your head a little bit. Did you notice the thinning hair, Konnan, in that aerial shot?
Yes.
You did.
Yes.
Very interesting. Wheeler Yuta's got all that hair, but he's got the little balding going on at the top. Joe, did you notice the balding Utah?
I have not noticed that yet. No.
Interesting. Yeah. The aerial shot, there's an aerial view. You can see the top of his head.
And it looks ridiculous, the haircut.
There's a little... But you can't tell unless you do the top shot, though. That's the best. He hides it. But the aerial view did no justice. They should have never had that camera shot. Like, literally, that camera shot, the only thing it did was show, oh, look, Wheeler Yuta's balding on the top of his head.
Like they do with Cena.
Right.
They don't protect the guy.
Right.
And you can't tell me with as much money as Cena has, he can't cover that with hair or something, you know.
I think he's had plugs don't work for everybody because he's had them. I thought he has. It looked like he did, and then I don't know that system. If they wear out, they fall out, they don't work, whatever it is. But so the Roman thing, Disco, it's a combination of his part-time schedule he has since he signed his new contract, and then also there are rumors that he is working on a Street Fighter film.
Oh,
yeah, he might have had a movie role or two. So.
Well, yeah, I know he's got limited dates, but he's done like we did the data last week. He's been like 9 matches since WrestleMania of last year. 9 appearances, right?
Yeah. 9 is what Gross.
All right, so let me finish this segment. Okay, so they come in and attack him. But then, okay, I'll give out the best girl, the best person. This was Marina Shafir. She slapped out of Hangman in the face.
Like 3 times, yeah.
4 or 5 times. It looked good.
Yeah.
Right? I got to give her credit, right?
Yeah.
Her shit looked good. She looked good.
Yeah.
Right. So Hangman got this feed and talked. Well, hang on a second. Wait, what am I missing here? Okay, so she slapped him, and then he got bum rushed by Claudio Wheeler and dropped with a neutralizer. And then Claudio Wheeler left. Hangman got this feed, talked trash. He was still standing. The Death Riders were Moxley's neuter little. So they returned to ringside, but they got cut off by the Ops. The Ops showed up. Our boys Samoa Joe and who's the other kid?
Hobbs and
Shibata. So they blocked them. So then the Hangman and Marina Shafir tried to enter the ring again with the briefcase to hit Hangman, but he grabbed it and held up the briefcase and demanded Texas death in exchange for returning the briefcase. The Moxley got fired up and accepted. Hangman returned the briefcase to Shafir, and he got on the microphone again and told Moxley that he would do whatever it took, but in case you needed a reminder. And he did the buckshot lariat on Marina Shafir, and she didn't take a very good bump because he clotheslined her right in the face. It's hard to take a good bump when you get clotheslined right in the face. But she's pretty tough. I'm sure she can handle it. She's a shoot fighter. But the crowd, nobody did, and people in the crowd were doing this with their hands on their heads, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that he clotheslined her." So this segment wasn't bad. Marina Shafir made the whole segment, to be honest with you. But
No, the buckshot lariat made the whole thing.
that's what I'm saying, Marina. But that's her.
She was great here.
Right.
This is the best we've ever seen her because she slapped out of him like Karen Jarrett, Stephanie McMahon style, right? Like when you bring it.
Oh, Karen Jarrett had she had no.
Right.
Yeah,
she brought it, you know, and I'm sure they told her to because you're not just gonna do that on your own, right?
Right.
So he said, make it look good, right? Yeah. And she did. Bro, these guys had a Texas death match before, and they've never even talked about it. And there's going to be a lot of blood. But let me just tell you why I like this. Because I kept thinking, bro, if this guy hits her, this place is going to explode. Because, he had a good reason to. She smacked him like 4 times.
Smacked like five times.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember in Mexico, I used to do this thing where the heel girl would be the whole match, interfering, kicking guys, hitting him with a chair, and then I'd come in and DDT her, and the place would just pop. So I was glad when he did the buckshot lariat, and at the same time I was thinking, oh, here comes a fake outrage. Has there been any, Joe, on Twitter or Disco that you guys are on it?
No, I haven't.
No.
Okay, that was great. I thought this was the best part of the show. And if you notice, when Mox was talking, people are going, shut the f up.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but bro, I want to go a little sidebar then in a minute. But
the reason I bring that up is because I think people are tired of him.
Well, the thing is, Moxley's verbiage here was actually very clear,
right,
and concise than it usually is, where he's speaking in riddles and just rambling on. But he just made a point that Hangman, you can't handle this spot because deep down you don't want this spot really. You know what I'm saying? That's what the verbiage was. It was good verbiage. So this was
and I like where he was. Oh, you think I don't want this spot? Here comes a buckshot lariat. This was the best thing on the show.
Right. You mentioned.
You know what you didn't need here. You know what you didn't need.
What?
I thought this would have been better.
Utah, nothing.
Well, yeah, no, I'm serious. You didn't need the interference. You didn't need the interference. You didn't need the odds. All you needed was Marina and Moxley.
Right.
Okay. Where the slap spot with Hangman, would they do a thing with Boom Boom and he bumps Moxley out of the ring? Marina turns around the slap spot with him where she slaps him like five times, and he turns that into the buckshot lariat to her, and Moxley pulls around. He ends up cutting the promo on him at the end. You didn't need anybody. You needed all these.
This was overbooked like they always do.
Correctly overbooked, but the gist of it was very good between Hangman and Mox and Marina Shafir.
Yeah, there was no reason for him to go, hey, Castagnoli, you suck, and then Castagnoli trying to come back into the ring, and then Joe comes out with all that was unnecessary.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you could just done the spot with Mike. Then it would have been like 2 to 3 minutes shorter.
Just like you said it.
Yeah. So next was we got a promo for the new Superman film. Tony Storm and Rachel Brosnahan is in it, and Tony Storm made her entrance in center of the commentary table in front of a table of food. The Marina comes out for her match. For some reason, they're having to. I'm absolutely not a fan of this. Okay. When you have a championship match scheduled for pay-per-view coming up in a couple of weeks, having somebody defend the belt that you're the gist of this should have been Tony Storm complaining the entire time is why is she getting a title match here? Like, I've got this girl in a couple weeks, so basically this ended with
what, bro? Wait, because I'm just gonna leave. I'm not going to sit here and allow you to insult the 4-time Booker of the Year. That's just not. That's where I draw the line, dude.
Right.
So this one 14 minutes, and Mina.
Okay, Joe, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah. No respect. Unbelievable.
And it ends up with a roll up. Okay, Mercedes got the win.
Right.
So after the match, Mercedes attacked Mina after the bell. Tony ran in for the save, and you got a big championship match coming up, and you have your top babyface girl looking like an absolute imbecile, where she runs her off, goes over to Marina, has her back to her and Mercedes just runs in and jumps in, attacks her from behind. It's like, and then
bro, this is the go home week,
shot,
right?
And then Mercedes,
no.
Second last.
Okay.
Yeah. But then Mercedes went in and threw a drink on Luther's face, and they didn't even get like a camera shot of him selling it. just like doing the drink. You were like,
This was so
I don't-
amateurish, and Tony Storm with the steak dinner thing was kind of weird.
right.
Like that doesn't fit her character.
Because Mercedes was doing the steak, that they were like it was all silly, and this actually was a
Well, not only that, you knew Monet wasn't going to lose if she was going to face
Right.
Tony Storm. And I would like to throw a little extra tidbit here. When I was doing my autograph session, on my right-hand side was Mina, and on my left-hand side was Ahmed Johnson. Very, very sweet girl.
Big T.
interesting. How was Ahmed Johnson? He had his gallon
Dude,
of milk with him.
I don't mark out because a girl has big. What? What?
Did Ahmed Johnson have his gallon of milk with him?
No.
Oh, no,
But
He doesn't do that.
he's
anymore.
calmed down a lot, bro. He used to be very wild. Like, I hated to go out with him or New Jack because you get something would happen and there was either a fight or almost a fight.
Big T. That was his WCW name. Were you talking? I can't remember. Were you talking to me or Disco right there?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. What you
no,
say?
You said you were mark. I don't mark out for a girl. Those because I said Big T, but that was his WCW name,
Right.
right?
Yeah, you got confused there.
Is that what you're
It's
saying?
Big T.
Yeah.
And you said, I
Oh,
don't
my
mark out
bad.
for
No, I was
yeah.
just. Yeah.
You're still a perv.
Let me give you the take. This is Jason Powell's take. Okay. A very good match from Mina and Mercedes. I'm still waiting to get captured by the feud between Monet and Storm. Ambushing each other and sitting ringside for matches works in the early stages, but this is a home stretch and doesn't feel like it's scratched the surface of what it could have been. I agree. The creative for their angle hasn't really been that great.
I will say this. The match was good. Monet usually has good matches. The match was good, and the people thought that Mina might win. So that I'll give credit to them for that.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. Baseball season is in full swing, and we're into the home stretch for NBA and NHL playoffs. And there's more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from the MLB, NHL, and UFC. And in between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino. All the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino action. So BetOnline, the game starts here. So backstage, the Young Bucks spoke about being a stone's throw from their hometown. And Matt said he went on a spending spree with the company card. And he opened up the limo, and there was a box of sneakers in there, boxes of sneakers. And they said they would take a limo ride to their childhood haunts, and they showed an elementary school first, and more is to come. Then they went to their childhood home and mocked the area for being poor. This was not this video was not
Right.
didn't really resonate. It's like very, I don't know. This could have been, I don't know, I thought it was kind of lame.
Bro, let me say another thing. This
Go
was
ahead.
their 300 segment, right?
300 show, yeah.
Dynamite.
300 show, right?
Yeah.
Bro, they didn't show anything of the past.
Right.
Have any guest appearances? You know what I'm saying? Like
No
this
highlights of the first 300 shows.
Nothing. Yeah.
So what do you think the Vegas odds on this match would be? This the Casino Gauntlet qualifier. MJF versus AR Fox versus Anthony Bowens versus Brody King. Who would be the favorite?
MJF.
Strong favorite.
So he came out, for some reason he decided, I'm going to pay Brody King to team with me against these guys. And Brody King threw the money on the ground, so there was just a whole bunch of like bills lying all over the ring when they started the match. And this went on for 13 minutes. Could have been done in 6 because everybody knew that MJF was going to win this. MJF won this, and that was it. Then Mark Briscoe comes out, and Joe, pull that shirt up.
What?
No, not your shirt.
What shirt?
MJF has a tiny kosher.
Shirt? Yeah.
Konnan, what do you think of the shirt
I saw
they're
that.
actually marketing?
Yeah.
MJF has a tiny kosher pickle.
I saw that.
Okay, let me ask you a question. But based on the climate today, the year 2025, okay, what shirt do you think would sell better? Okay, MJF has a tiny kosher pickle, or what do you think if they sold a shirt that said MJF sucks, free Palestine? What shirt do you think would sell more?
Palestine shirt would.
The free Palestine shirt would probably sell way more than I would think. So this is so
I like how
Briscoe,
MJF treated this like an easy fight, and he almost lost a couple of times just to kind of swerve you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
right. But let's not forget. Okay, let's talk in the concept of overbooking. Okay, so this match ended. Okay, Casino Gauntlet match ended in 13 minutes. So they've been out there a while. Then Mark Briscoe comes out and he had the shirt that said MJF has a tiny kosher pickle. Then Briscoe said he qualified for number 2 in the Gauntlet, but that only guaranteed him an uninterrupted for a for a few solid minutes. Then Briscoe made it clear he wasn't addressing anyone but MJF, and he said his beatdown is coming courtesy of calling him a. So then he's coming out on the ramp, cutting this promo on him, and challenged him next week to come in the ring and have another talk with him.
A talkie talk.
A talkie talk.
Yeah.
So then our boys Jet Speed made their entrance and attacked Lashley and Benjamin. And they kept beating them up and leaving them in the ring, and they kept getting up and challenging them again. And they kept beating them up and leaving them in the ring and kept challenging them again. And he kept beating them up and leaving them in the ring, kept challenging them again. And Night and Bailey got to their knees and said they know how to hurt people, but they'd have to kill them if they want to keep the titles. This looked like two indie guys constantly trying, like two indie kids trying to attack two grown men, and they just were just dismissing them and like abusing them like a father would his children. Is what I got out of this segment. Did you get the same vibe here?
100%, bro. These guys look like little people next to them. They look like kids.
And they don't fight.
They look like teenagers. They look like indie guys. They look like guys that aren't professional. You know,
right.
These guys look like men, like killers, like sophisticated. And bro, this guy's such a mark. Tony's such a mark for this Knight and Bailey guy. I would not be surprised if he took the title off of these guys, which would be the wrong thing to do.
I think.
They're doing the best with the creative they're giving them here because
right.
like the Hurt Business is getting over.
But why aren't they fighting like Brian Cage and Lance Archer? Why aren't they fighting?
Brian Cage is hurt. Brian Cage is hurt. Okay, but let me see this.
Okay,
Brian Cage is hurt.
Yeah, he's hurt.
No.
But he blew his knee out. He's rehabbing. Yeah, I knew that from a while back.
But why aren't they fighting? Why aren't they fighting Swerve and Ospreay?
Or the FTR or Edge and Christian or
why aren't they fighting those guys?
That's what I'm
saying. Gallows and Anderson. Then.
I don't know how you're looking at Knight and Bailey, and looking at these two guys and looking at the Hurt Business,
thinking they have a chance.
Well, I'm going to make money with this feud.
Right.
Like so, the Hurt Business is doing everything they can do, and they're not even trying to get themselves to get these other guys over. They're making sure that their image is not tarnished by interacting with these guys, and the way they're laying out these segments, they're just literally beating the out of them, and they're giving them look like they have no chance of beating them, which does make me think that Tony might be such a mark if you're telling the story. And if they do beat them, this is the dumbest thing you could do.
Right.
Because you still haven't really gotten these guys in with a feud with anybody notable yet.
I think we'll know next week, because if Lashley and Benjamin beat again next week, then they're going to win. But if these guys get a little drop kick out of the ring next week, then probably Lashley and Benjamin will win.
Well, here's the thing, too.
Real quick, Brian Cage, because you mentioned him, it's actually torn quad, according to...
Torn quad,
so why aren't they wrestling? Here's another team I just thought of, the Young Bucks.
Okay, let me give you a perfect example, right? You're right on point here. And this can easily be corrected. Who are your best tag teams in that company that you could actually promote? These are my top tag teams.
Young Bucks.
Okay, Young Bucks number 1. FTR number 2.
Right.
You could do who are they? Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. They're in a faction. They be credible.
Yeah, but they're not believable. I don't think they're believable.
But in that group they are. That's your number 1 heel faction.
Swerve and Ospreay.
Swerve and Ospreay. See,
does 2.0 still team up?
I got one. Hobbs and Samoa Joe.
Okay, Hobbs and Samoa Joe. All right. So now what we're doing is
we've got 4.
Okay, we got really 5 because I think the Death Riders could have a tag team. You could actually do Moxley and Claudio.
That's more credible.
All right, but here's what I'm saying. Your most ominous challengers for these guys are 3 heel tag teams.
Right.
The Jacksons, FTR, and then but
they're baby faces.
But you're not booking them as baby faces.
Yeah, but they get a baby face reaction.
I'm aware of that, but they've got them booked against 2 other.
Okay. So they fight a heel. So they fight heels. What's the big deal? They don't get.
There's a lot.
That's my point. is like this whole way, this whole tag team division with their babyface and heel dynamic is so convoluted that you're leaving good stuff on the table because you get too many heels.
100%.
And you can easily flip the Hurt Business into baby faces, and you got 3 credible heel
Right.
tag teams to fight against. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, but now they're messing with their heels against these 2 guys that have no chance that look like indie guys, and you've wasted 6 weeks on this already. You know what I'm saying? Like time's ticking on those guys. They're not. Lashley and Sheldon are not young. They're close to 50. I think Sheldon's like 49.
I think they're
Something
both at that. Yeah, something like that.
Bro, they should pummel these guys and heat up a feud the next 6 months. 2 months with the Young Bucks, 2 months with the
Right.
FTR.
Right.
And it's that
Exactly.
simple, you know?
100%.
Shelton's
Yeah.
49, Bobby's 48. Di.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you?
Yeah.
The rest
They're
of these
almost
kids
50.
Yeah.
and the whole angle is they're beating up these kids every week. It's not sympathy. It's like you're like, well, why are they in there with these guys? It's ridiculous.
I would take these kids in the frat house here: Griff Garrison, Preston Vance, and Jacked Jameson, and I would have them.
I'll be
and
brutally
Free
honest with you,
Birds.
Joe. I'll even say this.
Yeah.
I would be more compelled with Nick Camarado and Lance Archer against the Hurt Business than I would against
Put
these 2 guys
Camarado
up
as
there.
his partner. That's fantastic. That's what we should do. That's a great idea.
What do you think about that suggestion for Nick Camarado?
Stupid.
What's QT doing?
So next, the Young Bucks arrive to the arena in their limo. They make their entrance, and Takeshita comes out, and they're wrestling Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Bandito. In a random, this is show number 300, and they just threw a random tag match in here so they could do a post match. So Takeshita gets the win after the match. Swerve and Ospreay showed up. The Young Bucks bailed from the ring. Swerve
Well,
grabbed the mic and demanded their answer.
Disco,
Can't hear you.
Yeah, pull your mic up, dude.
Oh, whoops! Probably.
You're good.
You hear me now? Better.
Yeah.
So Swerve and Ospreay showed up, and the Young Bucks bailed from the ring, and Swerve grabbed the mic and demanded their answer for a match at All in Texas with the EVP titles on the line. Then Swerve clarified they had no interest in the EV titles for them. They wanted to return them to the people. See, the only person that runs the company is Tony Khan, and Ospreay asked if they were still the Young Bucks or the Young. You know what he said? The Young.
Oh.
The Bucks demanded to know what they were going to get out of it. Finally, and they said no. Then Ospreay made an offer they wouldn't challenge for the AEW title for a year. And Swerve got fired up because he wasn't consulted for this, and the Bucks said yes, provided that Swerve and Ospreay could get on the same page. Swerve said they got a deal, but he and Ospreay shared words afterwards. So at least they're I would not doubt. You know the funny thing, somebody tweeted out that the funniest thing about this angle will be is that if Swerve and Ospreay lose and neither of them can fight for the titles in a year, the dirt sheets will report that this was Ospreay's idea. Okay.
I wouldn't be.
What did the Young Bucks put on the line?
Well, they got their EVP titles.
Okay.
That was the original thing. Remember we talked about that?
Right,
They wanted
yeah,
them to fight. Put your EVP titles up on the line.
Yeah,
I'm
what are
saying
they going to
they're-
put up? Yeah,
Right, so now they're putting up this.
Yeah,
so
I
at
guess-
least they answered,
But
they
what
answered
is-
that question.
right.
Give the EVPs back to the people. What is that? How they gonna? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Fans
I
are
don't
gonna
know.
vote every week for matches. Like, what does that even mean?
I don't know. But so then this segued into a match between the
Real
Beast
quick.
Mortals-
So this match was good because all 6 guys can go, and it's like the lucha-centric. So, I like that. All right? And that'll be interesting. That's an interesting stipulation because these guys lose for a whole year. They can't go after the title, and
Right.
the other guys lose their titles.
or the EVP.
Which
titles.
which way do you think they'll go?
The Bucks got to lose.
Yeah, I
at
think
some
the
point.
Bucks win.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah, I think they're gonna lose. All right, so Mercedes Moné's boyfriend and Jalisco go against Swerve and Will, and they go over, of course. Like nobody thought that they would lose. So that was just a random match. Bro, show number 300. They had a couple random matches in a row here that didn't really mean.
Why are they? Yeah.
anything.
Why is Mortos and Go teamed up?
Because they're the La Facción Ingobernable,
Okay.
which is a
What
faction.
does that mean? The Ingobernable means what?
Like they can't be controlled.
Oh, the uncontrollable faction.
Yeah, but that's a shoot because it used to be, listen to this, it used to be Rush, Andrade, and this other guy called La Máscara. And as a shoot, the old timers couldn't control them and they would get in the fights with the old time wrestlers in the ring. And so they gave
For
him
a
that
shoot?
name. Yeah, for a shoot. And so that's why you see Rush wrestle
Oh, yeah.
so stiff.
Yeah. Right.
That's how he wrestled over there.
Because the guys,
Right.
the veterans that try to beat the
Right.
they,
Right.
so the
Right.
veterans that came from that old school
Right.
thing we got, they
Yeah.
never let that go.
Right.
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 So
And it's still
so
there.
these young kids are,
It's still there.
really.
That's the amazing part. It's still there for the men and the women.
Really?
That's why if you see Stephanie Vacker's interviews, she's like, nobody helped me. You know, they did this to me. They did that. Welcome to Mexico. Lucha Libre is still like old school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they did Kota Ibushi against Okada. Okada, his matches are not an attraction anymore. Okay,
Right.
and his character has not been treated like an attraction anymore, and his work has gotten rusty from a lack of work. He doesn't they're not in the New Japan schedule anymore. He very rarely wrestles, and he doesn't really look like on point out there. You know what I'm saying? Would you agree? Would you agree with that? Even though he won this match in 14 minutes, it just didn't. Like I'm not thinking like when you're witnessing an Okada match, there's nothing in it that's like anything special.
Well, I will say this. I thought Okada worked a little bit better than he usually does because he had to go against Ibushi, and Ibushi brings it. Like Ibushi brought it in this match. Like he's gotten older, but he's still, he didn't call it in, right?
Right.
They're older guys, but at the end of the day, I think, aren't they facing each other at All In or something?
Omega Okada.
Mego.
Okay, so obviously for all these people that are into the Golden Lovers, Omega and Ibushi hugging, that was a big thing. The Ibushi's a big thing to that crowd. So's Omega, so's Okada, because they were New Japan guys. But
yeah, the only thing about them too. Let me see if you agree with this. It's a very little nitpicky thing, but they had a spot at the end where like they did the ref break, but Okada snuck in a lariat, and it was a good lariat, right? And I thought he was just gonna pick him up because it was a good spot. It looked good, and I thought he was okay to pick him up and just give him the Rainmaker now, and that's it. That would have been effective, right? But then they went into like he picked him up to go for the Rainmaker, but then he ducked the Rainmaker. Okada then hit him with the dropkick and then gave him the Rainmaker. And it's like that little
Right.
spot where he didn't need that. He kind of like he cheated a little bit to sneak in the lariat on him.
Well,
on the
I like the
pick him up
fact.
and give him the thing in
well,
1, 2, 3.
I like the fact that at the end he gave him 3 Rainmakers, so it took 3 to get Okada out. I like that spot. I like that spot. Yeah.
Interesting. I wasn't.
Yeah, because he didn't beat him with 1 Rainmaker. Right. You know what I'm saying? It took 3 to finally get him out.
So yeah, the Calisthenics beat down Bush after the match with Rocky Romero and Lance Archer in the ring. Then Kenny Omega ran down with a chair to clear the ring, but Beretta snuck up from behind Omega, but he ended up eating a powerbomb into a German suplex from Omega and Ibushi, and they stood tall to end the show. And then I'm trying to figure out. I'm looking back here and hang on. I'm trying to figure out where's the heat on this show. There really wasn't hardly any heat, was there? Didn't the baby faces kind of like saying
just in the opening segment?
Well, no, in the what's their names? The Hurt Business, but they're supposed to be kind of baby faces. They're like, and it really wasn't heat because the other guys kept.
Yeah, they got squashed.
But then they kept getting up and challenging him and said, "You're not going to go." So it's like, I don't know. They just don't like. I mean, this company
the build
Tony
to
does not
that
like
tag
heat,
match
so.
has not been good.
Right. So.
And that's next Saturday, the same as Saturday night's main event. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the show altogether? I didn't really do much, to be honest with you. Although the Hangman thing was good.
Yeah, the Hangman thing was good. I kind of, because I'm a Okada mark from New Japan, I kind of like seeing Okada and Ibushi. Obviously, they're not going to do what they used to do before, but I thought they looked good for 2025. And the thing with Kenny Omega and the Golden Lover at the end, for people that know that story, that was great. Because remember, Ibushi came to help him out last week, right? Or the week before?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an all right show. I just think that, they should have done best of the, the kind of like some of the best of, you know what I'm saying? Like bumpers, the best of the last 4 years. Maybe somebody appears that you didn't expect, whether it's Shaquille O'Neal or Wardlow, or you know what I'm saying? Like they had no surprises.
Right. But let me tell you, yeah, they should have done the 300. There was nothing. about the 300 show there was anything special. At
Right.
all. As a matter of fact, it was an underwhelming show if you looked at like the actual match they had in the
300.
show.
Do you remember what WCW Nitro did for episode 100?
Yeah, of course.
Do you? No,
Of course not.
Okay, Luger beat Hogan for the title in Detroit. That was Nitro 100. The
Oh
first
wow, yeah,
ever
that's right.
Nitro,
A huge pop too.
Yep.
Huge pop on that.
Right. That's what you do. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, here's my top 5 of the week. All right. Oh, by the way, there's the ratings aren't up yet, right? Because we're kind of in a 4th of July theme.
Yeah,
here,
we're not gonna.
So we won't get them till when, Joe?
Probably like Saturday or Monday.
Saturday, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 4th is tomorrow. So this is my top 5 for the week in no particular order. Actually, the last one is number 1. In no particular order, 2 through 5. The solo Fatu match with the debut of Hukulea. I'd like to finish there, though, the stuff because I don't think anybody thought Solo was going to win that match. So I like the surprise of the finish.
That's incorrect. The 584,000. They did come out.
Oh, real?
Yeah.
What was
Wow,
it?
that's low.
584.
What about the? Oh my God, everybody's going to be torturing these guys online.
There's no NBA. There's no playoff.
No, you know what
games.
they're going to say is that there was nothing.
Yeah.
Literally no competition at all.
And it's a 300th anniversary.
Well,
584. Do you have
Right.
the quarter things or no?
No, they come a little bit later. But
Wow.
here in WrestleNomics it says Dynamite was 8th for the night. The Gold Cup semifinal game, USA versus Guatemala on FS1, was number 1.
I actually saw that.
Yeah, 1.24 million viewers.
Guess who they're playing in the finals? Disco.
Mexico is Saturday night. So,
Right.
Or is it Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
Oh, awesome.
On
We can definitely
Fox.
watch that. Yeah.
US or Guatemala.
I'm I'm going to bet on that. You can bet on this in the matches.
What?
Yellow cards. You can.
That's great.
The number would be like 5.5 yellow cards, which is
That's
a pretty
great.
high number. Then you can bet over. Just
Bro.
hope it gets down. Hope there's a scrum and they give like a couple guys yellow.
But have you seen?
It's
Have
great
you
to
seen?
bet, yeah.
Have you seen that guy Diego Luna?
Yeah, he's on fire right now.
Bro, he's only 21.
I know.
He's a stud. Yeah.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.